Hello, and welcome to What We've Learned. My name is Steve Kemish. I'm joined by Shane Redding. Hello, Shane.
Hello, Steve.
Hey, you sound a bit echoey. It sounds like we're in a departure lounge rather than a podcast studio, Shane. Tell the dear
Yeah,
listeners where we're going today.
packed, ready, passport, suitcase
Giant,
packed.
giant bar of chocolate from WH Smith, all the essentials for an airport trip. Where are we travelling to?
Well, we're traveling via the digital airwaves to talk to the lovely Youvraj Seeam, who is in Mauritius. So we're off to the sunny isle of Mauritius because he is e-sales and product manager for Air Mauritius.
He is. He's many other things as well, as I'm sure you're about to find out. I'm slightly deflated. I might just put my factor 30 away, Shane. I thought we might be actually getting on an aeroplane, but even better, we've made the world smaller by taking a podcast and all of our equipment and all of our questions to Youvraj. And as you're about to hear, a fascinating man with lots and lots of really interesting tales to tell and some brilliant life lessons and learnings for us all.
So I'm so excited in this episode to welcome Youvraj Seeam all the way from Mauritius, courtesy of the wonderful digital recording technologies that we have, and a very interesting story to tell us, I think, both from a very personal perspective, but also because Youvraj is in one of the industries that perhaps has been affected the most this year, and that's the airline industry. So welcome.
Hello, good evening, good morning, or good afternoon to everyone who is listening to this podcast. I am Youvraj Seeam from the beautiful island of Mauritius, which is found in the Indian Ocean next to Madagascar, a very beautiful island indeed. Mark Twain used to say that Mauritius was created first. Then God said, oh, I'm going to create paradise based on Mauritius now.
So you've made us all transported us to your lovely island. But tell us about how you started in your career. And what got you into the whole world of digital marketing?
So I started my schooling in secondary when I ended in 1985. I wanted to become a system analyst or a computer professional. And at that time, the PC was not yet invented. But I started using computers with Amstrad or Commodore C64. Then I moved to Amstrad, and afterwards in 1988, 1990, we had the PC that is IBM compatible. So I was always passionate. Then I always wanted to become an IT professional, which at the end I became. In 1998, I joined Air Mauritius, the national carrier of Mauritius, as an IT professional. My profile was very much to train people, to move people from a DUB terminal to a Windows network environment, and then to make them work in a new mindset of sharing data on network drive and office automation. Then after 10 years working in IT, I decided to continue my learning in Masters in Business Administration with Heriot-Watt University. And then I decided to move into the business part of Air Mauritius. So I moved to loyalty marketing. So I discovered marketing at that time in practice. And then afterwards, I discovered digital marketing while I was practicing, learning, serving customers. Then we saw all around the world, e-commerce was emerging. And Mauritius decided to invest in e-commerce by engaging a consultant. Then in 2012, we created the first e-commerce department or section, which became part of the commercial unit. And I was one of the managers joining in as e-sales and product manager. So my job was to drive traffic to that website, to increase the sales, to develop the online sales of Air Mauritius, which we did within a period of 8 years. We moved it from 2% to 10%. So that was a great achievement for Air Mauritius itself, penetrating the online medium now to sell on online channel. So I say to myself, I need to bring some structure in my learning about digital marketing, about e-commerce, and everything that has to do with online sales and marketing. So I decided to look for school. And while my first boy completed his graduate degree from Curtin, Australia in management marketing, I said, now it's time to build a layer of digital marketing. Then my research took me to IDM, that is Institute of Direct and Digital Marketing at the time. And then I met wonderful people like Shane and Steve and Mike and others who were from industry practitioners from UK, and we are go-getters. My son and myself, we go and get the knowledge where it is. So we flew from Mauritius to UK, and we were enrolled to this course. We completed our professional diploma in 2017, and then in 2018, we completed our postgraduate diploma in digital marketing. As such, I believe we are among the few on the island of Mauritius to have this qualification right now.
And I think perhaps the few father and son combination that Steve and I have had the pleasure to teach. Is that right, Steve?
Well, yeah, not just on Mauritius, Shane, but on the whole planet, I think. Yeah, absolutely. And it's very memorable, Youvraj. It was I had the privilege of teaching that degree level qualification for 10 years, and both of the two of you stood out, not just because of the uniqueness of the journey, hopefully with Air Mauritius helping you get over there rather than any other airline, but the fact that you both, as you said, go-getters, you describe it, but passionate about learning and improve and continually improving. And what you've just described there and that career history as well, it shows that for me quite an interesting evolution, because I imagine that IT professional and that analyst background must have served you very well when it came to that e-commerce role of understanding the technology that IT entails, but also because you've then added on that marketing experience, it sets you up well, I guess, for a really good translator position between those quite different areas of an organization.
Indeed, because when you start working in an environment, in a corporate environment, you start learning about the actual structure of the company. And then if you are alert enough, you're going to learn many things. What I started doing when I was starting my career at Air Mauritius, I was not looking only at my job at the time, but I was also carving a vision of myself in 5 years where I want to be, in 10 years where I want to be. And then I always ask question, why this user is working on this data or this application or this system? Why Air Mauritius has invested in Oracle ERP or a CRM? So I always wanted to understand from the business perspective. So I was always very curious. And I think my curiosity, coupled with my passion and my vision of achieving things in a determined plan, helped me to move and to continuously progress. And I describe myself as a lifelong learner.
Yeah, and I think that attitude, sorry, Steve,
comes
through in terms of what you're saying, learning now and having that vision of if you like, reskilling, which perhaps for some people they haven't always thought like that, Raj, and you comes across really clearly that you've realised the world changes and you need to change perhaps ahead of it. And I know you're continuing to learn now. So what are the things you feel that you're investing your time in learning that are going to pay back over the next 5 years? What are the new skills you're learning?
Yeah, thank you for this very interesting question, Shane. Right now, I'm learning how machine learning and artificial intelligence are being infused at different decision-making process and systems that are being used across organizations, especially when it comes to sales, marketing, customer experience, customer engagement. And I see a lot of potential for organizations in this area. That's how I say to myself that the next 5 years or next coming 1, 2, 3, up to 5 years or more and more AI and machine learning will be infused and integrated in all applications that are being used in organizations. And especially that little by little, all systems are being moved to cloud computing now, which gives an enormous power of storage and processing, and it becomes seamless, like the SaaS, that is service or software as a service. It allows small companies, medium companies, and even bigger companies to get access to it. In my quest and curiosity and passion, I came across some very interesting companies like Blue Shift. They have developed a customer data platform hub, but it is a new generation, a completely new approach to customer data platform. They already have a couple of machine learning models that they have built in the platform, which gets you like the capability, it gets the capability to the actual sales and marketeer to have the possibility to know like things like the next best action that would come from that customer, or a recommendation engine which is already built so that we can better engage and drive that customer down to in the sales funnel and sell to that customer. Or for the sales enablement, it is going to get them a lead scoring, and it gets them clear idea of where to concentrate and put their energy to which leads, that is to qualify them eventually for sales. So I can see that coming, and this is where I'm investing my time. Then another area which I see is going to be very much trendy and in demand is data literacy, data analytics, data visualization. At the end, machine learning, AI, all this is going to converge to data analytics. But what I see is more and more organization needs to completely revamp themselves in terms of organizational culture, bringing data literacy culture at all levels, starting from the CEO, the C-suite, the managerial level, and the operational level. So if we are able to bring a data literacy culture, it is only then that you can harness data analytics and create a true insight-driven organization. And that is going to ensure that these organizations are going to remain competitive in a hyper-competitive world, which is being challenged every day, every week by disruptors. So I see that.
It's fascinating. I could listen to you all day. It reminds me, because we haven't seen each other for a while, but I sometimes wondered back from our IDM days, who was the tutor and who was the student? Because you're almost a futurologist, Youvraj, in terms of what you've said there. is bang on in terms of is the way a lot of organizations, as you've said, a lot of sizes are going to have this need and an opportunity to wed data and technology together, so that whether it's AI or machine learning based, or it's just harnessing big data, it's going to be scalable, that rather than just the big companies that can afford this at the moment, it will be open up to many other organizations, which only serves all of us well, and particularly people like you that are ahead of it in terms of your learning and understanding. But I want to ask a slightly different question. I just want to rewind on something you said around the e-commerce, because I'm not sure if you're aware of this in Mauritius, but excuse me, certainly in Europe, e-commerce, because of the pandemic of 2020, particularly in markets that wouldn't traditionally sell online, and I'm thinking mainly business to business markets, but not exclusively, e-commerce has become a much more popular area for markets that may not have previously thought about it. And I wonder what your learnings were for back in that time of launching the e-commerce business, because I'm sure it's very transferable to any organization. What were the kind of key challenges and the key wins for you, is my first question. And secondly, did you find that Air Mauritius, by doing the e-commerce, were just simply moving customers that they would have already had to be more efficient, so through perhaps telephone or desk sales, or did it grow as well as kind of move those customers for you by just simply bringing e-commerce into the mix?
Yeah, thank you, Steve. And thank you for the appreciation on the previous remark that I had on data analytics, AI, machine learning. So first part of your observation, Mauritius also experience a growing need for e-commerce. We were all locked down, just like you. We were fortunate to be locked down for 3 months almost. Then we have been now open, and we are circulating, moving freely. So Mauritius is COVID-free in the community. But during lockdown, the authorities encouraged suppliers and the whole value chain to be able to supply the population by implementing very quickly the online mode of purchasing, which they did. Maybe they were not all ready, but they tried hard, and they came with the idea of we are going to deliver it to you. You just make your order, but you pay us on delivery. So that helped them to implement the e-commerce part very quickly, and until the time that they are going to apply the online payment part. So we were all affected, and many people discovered e-commerce all of a sudden. Even old people of different generations now, and like the baby boomers or the Gen X or the Gen Y. So
they got around the problem by being able to pay the delivery person. You didn't have to have the pay online. I think that's amazing.
Yeah, and so when the salesperson or the delivery van comes to you, so then you pay because they already have a POS, a mobile one. So they resolve that problem in the context of Mauritius. So that was first observation we had, and how we adapted to the new normal, as you say. Now coming to your first question, Steve, on e-commerce. So yes, e-commerce in Mauritius is developing. Since 2 years, we see more and more shops are online now, and they are encouraging more people to purchase online. So that means there is a behavior of customer which is evolving also. And I see more and more visibility of MasterCard, Visa, PayPal, Alipay, AliExpress, or Union Pay in the country. So this is one observation. As for Air Mauritius, as Air Mauritius is concerned, we can say that because we are operating not in Mauritius only and selling in Mauritius, but all around the world, including the 22 destinations that we fly to. So we have been on the forefront of e-commerce here on the island, and very much on the forefront of every technology which helps us to sell better. So Yes, we have shifted some people from traditional channel to this new channel over time, e-commerce. Then we have a considerable number of diaspora Mauritians living in UK or in France or in Germany and Italy. So these people were used to buy from us, but now they find the convenience of buying by staying home or anywhere, anytime. So that was one audience. Then we also created new users, new customers who discovered us through the destination Mauritius, because we sell the destination Mauritius and then we say fly direct to Mauritius, and as soon as you get on the plane of Air Mauritius, you can already feel the hospitality or the warm hospitality of Mauritians by the music that we play, by the color of the interior design of the airline, by the livery, by every amenities that we have set there, by the smile of the steward and the air hostess to get you in. So we leverage on that part to capture new customers. So this is how we were able to penetrate more and more different markets where we were operating. Like in Singapore, we were able to reach 45% of our sales through e-commerce, through online now, compared to the traditional distribution channel. In Australia, we were able to push it up to 16%. In a nearby island, which is called Réunion Island, which is a dependent of French, here we were able to push it up to 28%. So we saw a lot of potential there. And I am also a seasoned speaker at World Aviation Festival and Digital Travel Summit, I for Travel, and all these exposure for me with my peers in Europe, in Asia, and even Americas gets me to understand the trend, technology that could be used to enhance further. That's how I brought Sales Cycle, a cart abandonment program, which we use to capture people visiting but not yet decided on the purchase journey. We get them back to the website. Then I also discovered and brought Skyscanner, like the meta search, and Kayak, by meeting them at conferences and nurturing that relationship and eventually partnering with them. Then I brought Criteo, which is a dynamic banner ad company. So we continue to build the capability by bringing tools which could help us to grow that channel and to reach our yearly goals and eventually the long-term goals. So this is how we grew e-commerce.
So like you, Youvraj, I'm a great fan of traveling to learn more. I always learn things when I go to different countries and different communities and different business environments. I'm really fascinated now. You can't get on the plane and come and speak at one of these conferences. It's not quite the same when you're doing a digital event. How are you continuing to innovate? Where are you finding those new ideas to bring back, both for Air Mauritius, but also for your own consulting business? Where are you getting those innovation ideas from?
So right now, Shane, I'm speaking to like-minded people like Steve and yourself. So this gives me like a motivation to understand, and I learn from you people. I am a regular speaker in webinars with Ball State University, with Professor Deva Rangarajan, who is a sales and marketing professor. So he challenges me with very trendy subjects like big data in airlines, like modern sales powered by data analytics, machine learning, and artificial intelligence, or the insight-driven organization. So all these subjects pushes me to go and learn more. Where do I learn now? On white papers, on webinars. I'm a great fan of webinars. I'm on almost many webinars each week. And most of the conferences that we used to attend, like the World Aviation Festival, used to happen physically in September. So this year, exceptionally, it was a virtual one. The Asia Pacific version of Aviation Festival in 2020 was virtual. I was a speaker, but from home. So it forces me to go and learn. And I am always trying to understand what Japan Airlines is doing, what British Airways is doing, what KLM is doing, what United or Southwest or WestJet or Air Canada, how they have launched recently, revamped their aeroplan. So I'm learning from my peers in the industry, and through the webinars or through conferences that we still attend while it is being done in a new mode now. I was part of Outperform, a company called PROS. They are like the expert in revenue management and in the new NDC, that is the new distribution capability solution for airline ancillary sales. So I go in these ecosystem, in these medium, in these places to resource myself and to keep learning. And another way I am learning today is I discover interesting reports from Deloitte, from Gartner, from Forrester, where I discover that there is a company which has emerged recently called Data Robots. I'm going to recommend you and Steve to look at what they are doing. While what they have done is they have already prepared a set of machine learning models, and they have brought the concept of AutoML, that is automated machine learning, which saves a lot of time of data scientists. Now, you don't need to have a lot of data scientists or even 4 or 5 data scientists on board. Just one will do. So this tool like Data Robot is going to help you to build models of, it accelerates actually the building of machine learning models, which normally takes 6 months. It accelerates it to bring it to 2 weeks. So now you have the capability to roll out machine learning models very quickly in the actual functioning of your business and infusing AI now in the decision-making process.
Wow. But I've just been looking at datarobot.com whilst you've been talking, Youvraj, and I'm sure it won't just be Shane and I that will be looking at it. It's everyone that's listening as well. It's again a really good example of, as I said, when I said about your translator role, it's the problem often with industries like marketing is technology can be put in by technologists who don't really understand marketing or business. What you've got, and you articulate really well, is the understanding of it's not is technology second, but how can technology enable to do things, whether it's e-commerce, whether it's marketing activity to grow a business, whatever it may be. That's the thread that runs through those two pillars. It feels like the elephant in the room, Youvraj, we should probably talk about at this stage is, you've talked a bit about what you're learning, and it sounds a bit about like what you're doing for the year ahead, but I'm sure, well, certainly Shane and I, and I'm sure anyone listening in would be really interested to hear from you on how's it been over the last year, and how's the outlook looking for you, for Air Mauritius, for the industry as well, in terms of what are the good and the bad that may well come out in the near future from what's been happening for us all.
Yeah, in fact, it has been a very challenging time, Steve and Shane, for the whole travel industry since almost, we can say, 7 months now, since March. Mauritius is not an exception. Air Mauritius is not an exception. I can see I've seen a lot of my friends whom I met in conferences losing their job or being challenged to go on part-time. And myself, I am on a part-time since this month now. So it has been 16 days now that I'm part-time. So what I do when I saw that coming, so I get ready, I adapt myself to survive. I think most of us do that. It is very important. So on the industry outlook, I see that the challenge remains with very little visibility on how it will evolve. At first, we had, when it was like the first phase or first wave of the pandemic, we said, okay, I think we are going to get a grip on it. Then when we started to have the second wave with European who went on vacation in Spain, called very quickly to come back to the country. That was one example. And something similar happened in Asia also, in Vietnam. So then people started to get very worried because they saw second wave coming, and in most part of the world, second wave is there now. So it brings very little visibility on what how things will evolve and what will happen next. So organizations are running out of cash. Mauritius has like 15% of its GDP contribution from tourism and travel. So a lot of hotels employees, 120,000 employees right now are affected in my country out of 700,000. That makes you around 1/4 almost. So it is not easy. And this is just one example of a country. I'm sure Maldives, Seychelles, Madagascar, South Africa, UK, France, Spain, Italy, all countries which depend somehow on travel and tourism are greatly affected. The Caribbean also are very much affected by that. And Asia. My first boy, whom you know, he was one of the students we graduated. Right now he was working for a 5-star villa hotel in Phuket. You would love to go there, I'm sure. But he lost his job technically. So very quickly, because of the training, learning that we invested back in years, that has helped us. He very quickly moved to a marketing technologist job. And there is a startup which started operating in Phuket. They are the American and Canadian startup with European, Canadian, and US customers. So right now he's working there. So it is just one example of his story. Like this, you have a lot of stories where people have been affected. How it will evolve? I think that it should be like a gradual opening of the sky and the borders, just like Mauritius has approached. As from yesterday, we have a laboratory which is fully equipped and operational at the airport of Mauritius, where we have started opening the borders of Mauritius. We call it phase 2. We are operating 2 flights from Europe to Mauritius. And I know that my peers like KLM, Air France, British Airways, and others, they are gradually picking up and adding destination which they stopped flying. So what we see is gradually airlines, authorities, airports are working together, and the prior test or the test on arrival and test after arrival, all these protocols are helping to encourage somehow some form of travel to happen. And cargo flights are being encouraged to ensure trade and economy and finance going on, which is good for the economy to pick up. And
it is good. It's good to hear that. And I think the other thing that you've really made me sort of think about, and I think maybe Youvraj, you should be going to talk to your government, is the need for countries that are so dependent on tourism to rethink their futures. And I love the fact, your personal story, I think could inspire them. The fact that your son managed to through his investment in his own digital marketing training, your investment in lifelong learning through your business degree, but through also your computing and your digital marketing as well, is perhaps to help open their eyes to see, well, actually, you know, why not? Why couldn't Mauritius be perhaps the centre of data science? And, you know, that could be a very exciting new opportunity, but perhaps your government isn't yet aware of. So it's great to hear finding the opportunities in even a challenging time, and that you're seizing those.
Yeah, sure, Shane. You rightly said that. In fact, what I did to survive, maybe Steve, we didn't have the chance to talk. I have started my own consultancy firm, and I'm allowed to work because I'm earning only half of what I used to, so I have to survive. I have already one customer for which I'm actually carving the detailed digital business transformation strategy. One of my idea is to bring a B2B CRM program for them, and revisiting their digital footprint, that is the website, the social media, and everything. Another idea is to bring a social CRM where we can engage better with customers and encourage them to talk positively about their products. And because they are not actually selling directly to customers, they are distributing to a value chain that is a network of 1,200 shop and big supermarkets in Mauritius. But at the end, the product are being sold to end customers. So I'm encouraging them to know better their end customers. So bringing crowdsourcing concept through surveys, reaching the customer at the end, positioning each product as per the generation of customers and depending on their needs. And eventually I'm going to train the workforce in basic data literacy and data analytics. I'm trying to bring a culture change. I'm trying to make them realize the power of digital, e-commerce, social, and data. So basically, this is what I'm doing.
Fabulous. And it's funny. I was just listening to you thinking about how what you're learning and your curiosity. You've used that word curious quite a few times, which are exactly what I relate to. Is that, you know, you never want to stop learning and improving, and you get that wisdom of crowds that you previously got from being face to face with people all over the world with events. And on one way, the world has become a lot bigger again because we can't travel like we used to. But I guess the positive of this year is that because, and the three of us now are on a Zoom call recording this, the world has become smaller via a different route. And that only bodes well for your consultancy, that actually what you've just described there for that organization is something that not just Mauritian organizations we're going to need, is many, many organizations across the world. So the opportunity perhaps for you and individuals to do business with other people and share your learnings there. And Shane, back to your point as well, that, you know, there is utterly no reason why Mauritius or any other part of the world that may have relied on one particular industry can't rethink. And dare I say it, every podcast we do, we use the word pivot, Shane, is to pivot into a new
I thought we
trade.
were going to get away without using it
I
this
know,
time.
I'm sorry. The alarm's gone off for the pivot word that we always use. It just means that, you know, that again, it just, what comes across, Youvraj, from you and your son, but from talking to you, is that if you're constantly learning, you're constantly thinking, and you can constantly rethink, reposition, re-engineer, so you can become very agile and very nimble to changing circumstances.
Yes, very true. It is. And I understand that Shane uses the word unlearn, relearn, and continuous learn. So agile is a word, in fact, very true, Steve and Shane. We need to be agile in modern world. If you're not agile, you won't find your space. It applies to the organization, to companies, but it also applies to employees of current employees or employee of today. And it also applies to anyone who is active in an economy. We have to constantly adapt, understand, and learn new things. I think three skills, which is very important for people to survive and to continuously be useful to organization, is first part is a soft smart skill, that is a communication skill, the people skill, the public speaking skill, how you can conduct meeting and get the trust of people and get the attention and listening skill. And the second type of skill is data literacy, understand the concept of data, dimension, measures, and basic analytics, and how you leverage on the insight that you gather to take decisions. And the third skill, I would say, is to constantly adapt and understand the processes that are being used in a company, the governance part of the data, the privacy part of the data, because we talk a lot personalization. So it is very important to understand this part, while it is important to respect the privacy of people and to do everything in a very well set governance. So these type of skills you need to have to be able to survive and to continuously be useful to any organization.
Wow, Shane, fab stuff as ever. So interesting to listen to Youvraj talk to us. What did you take from that?
Well, I think you said it sort of halfway through the podcast. It's very much the pupil has become the master. And I really admire the lifelong learning, and the fact, sort of challenged me in thinking, gosh, I'm still learning, but maybe at not quite the same pace as Youvraj has demonstrated there. But the big takeout for me was that piece on the data robots being able to, reduce the time of your predictive modeling by getting the machine learning to do it. I think there's many people who'll listen to this podcast and be jumping onto Google, learning more about that and thinking, how can I use it? What about you?
Well, it's funny. It's not as if that's new rhetoric to hear that technology is going to help improve and speed things up. But he articulated and by example, an actual place to go that can be practically applied now. And I like you, I think a lot of people, including myself, will be finding out more, because what I can really relate to Youvraj is a similar journey in a way for me. Is I started from quite a technology standpoint by chance, really, had to learn IT and technology and then wed it to marketing. And he's done it so well in what he's done with Mauritius, and now with his consultancy and his organizations that he works with. Is technology is brilliant. It's so capable of improving marketing, but equally in the wrong hands for the wrong reasons, it's also very, very stifling. So some really nice stories around how to make technology work for marketing rather than technology for technology's sake.
And I think the other thing that it made me really question, are we really brave enough in terms of finding talent wherever it exists, wherever in the world? Because we talk a lot about the skill shortage here in Europe, in the US. And actually, we're perhaps just not reaching out in the way we should to find people like Youvraj who are there and who can help us. And it's so much easier to do now. So why aren't we doing more of that, and help sort of make us a more diverse, worldly wise team to boot?
Yeah, I absolutely agree with you. I think the world is a big place if you look at it in one way, but it's much, much smaller. The ability to communicate, to the wisdom of crowds, which is a principle I'm a huge fan of. We can be, particularly maybe, dare I say it, in our part of the world, in the Western world, looking the wrong direction at times, assuming that the smaller the country, the less they're going to know. And without question, what we've just heard there from Youvraj is an awful lot of value. So it says not only to me, and dear listener, I hope you haven't been fooled. We didn't actually get to go to Mauritius. So you may have heard at times with a few gremlins down the line as we talk to Youvraj all the way over there in Mauritius. But certainly, Shane, I want to go there now. And if you're listening in and thought, hey, I want to go, well, do remember that Mauritius, for the UK listener at least, is on the Foreign and Commonwealth Office travel corridor. It's a country you could get on the plane to tomorrow. And I know Youvraj should be keen to see us, wouldn't he, Shane?
He certainly would. And long may that travel corridor be wide open, because I can't wait. I need some sunshine.
Well, we need some sunshine in terms of vitamin D, but we certainly got some sunshine in our lives from just listening into Youvraj. So thank you, Shane. Thank you, everybody, for listening in. Any comments, please, as ever, post them out onto LinkedIn. You'll find this and all the other episodes on your usual podcast platforms, but you can go to what we've learned, wwlpodcast.co.uk, and you can go and pick up those episodes and catch up with any of the chat and discussion on our LinkedIn page that takes you to. We'll bid you farewell and bon voyage indeed, and we will talk to you on an episode soon.